Hey everyone, this is Alp here from FP Automation. Welcome to part 4 of our multi-part series on sales and operations planning within the Microsoft Fabric and Acterys ecosystem. In our previous video, we talked about the weeks of inventory analyses and how companies can understand where they have overstock and understock situations to figure out what SKUs they need to focus on in order to put further production planning measures in place to meet the necessary unconstrained demand based on constrained demand limits that they have within the organization itself. In this video, we're going to be covering the production planning process and how exactly companies can use this solution that we have built as a platform for other companies to be able to further influence their production planning cycles. Before getting into the details of this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about the pain points that we've seen various different companies in the pharmaceutical, manufacturing, as well as consumer product goods space struggle with when it comes to production planning. When it comes to production planning, many companies struggle to see exactly where inventory levels are running low, exactly what their production line capacity looks like, and what products should be taking precedence over others, and what the options are from a planning standpoint, whether they need to wholesale, produce, or potentially use an overtime in order to be able to meet the necessary demand and what that financial impact looks like across various different scenarios. In this video, you'll be seeing how exactly you have visibility into your full production lines, how much capacity you have in place, and of course, the options that you can have with your various different team members from a discussion standpoint when it comes to supply chain as to what your options are to be able to produce the necessary demand for that SKU and get the most top line revenue possible. Here, what we can see is we can actually see all various different production lines and the percentage of capacity left on that production line itself. A great part about this view is that we also have the ability to zoom in and see exactly what SKUs from a week perspective are driving the particular demand that we see right here from a production standpoint. So we can see how many units are being produced for each SKU right here as we drill into this particular product line. As we start to move into the production planning process, we can immediately see the capacity for that particular product line, and then we can also see the beginning and ending inventory balances for the particular SKU that we are currently on right here. We can also see a chart view that's showing exactly where the demand is starting to influence the ending inventory levels to be negative and where exactly we should be making adjustments. So imagine now we're looking at this view and we can immediately make influential decisions as to where exactly we should be producing or using a different method in order to be able to get the products that are needed to meet that demand. Right here, what I have the ability to do using the Acterys matrix visual is make adjustments to any one of my production values right here that you could see. So I can either adjust my constrained demand if I know I cannot meet that particular inventory or that particular demand level, or I can go ahead and produce in-house, wholesale, transfer from another facility, or go into overtime production. In my case right here, I'm going to go ahead and say that I can go ahead and produce additional units. I'm going to produce an additional 200 units in this given week due to lead times that I need to have in order to meet further demand down the line. By making a change right here, we're not only making an adjustment to this particular line, but we're also making an adjustment to the capacity right here, as well as the ending inventory balances for this particular SKU. So we can see right here that by looking at this particular value, we can actually ultimately see where the adjustments are being made. We can see that there was a slight adjustment right there. If we look at the produce in-house values for this particular SKU, we can actually see the 200 units that have been produced. And now we can see that we have a positive inventory level for these values right here and how this is changing our weeks of inventory of stock. If we know that our weeks of inventory is dipping below our averages, we can see where that is and make further adjustments and choose the different option that makes the most sense for the situation the business has. So rather than being reactive, you are being proactive and having the right conversations with the supply chain teams to figure out what the options are and how that has an influence on the cost of the business by either wholesaling, producing in-house, or resulting in an overtime production or a transfer. This can be done for one SKU, this can be done for many SKUs. So you can continue to influence other SKUs on your particular list right here, right from within the same screen, and see the changes happening within real time all within the same matrix visual right here. And imagine your team is doing this across many different SKUs for all the various different teams controlling that. This is giving you a central command for how you are going to meet your production means and figuring out what the best optimal strategy is and what the critical constrained demand levels are that you can meet based on production levels that are possible on your production lines, and what the necessary measure needs to be, whether it's producing another facility in the future with working capital, with capital expenditures, or providing more working capital in order to meet that demand due to very heavy demand influence. In our next video, we'll be talking about how this information gets fed into the MRP process and how you can utilize that MRP data in order to make further purchase orders with your vendors so that you are planning ahead of time to meet that necessary demand from a production standpoint. If you're interested to learn more about the production planning process and how exactly we're helping companies within the manufacturing, pharmaceutical, and consumer product goods space to do this, please feel free to check out the link below or visit our website at fpautomation.co. Thank you, and this is Alp signing out. See you in the next video.